Firstly, I'm pretty humbled to have the opportunity to speak today. I've not done anything like this really before, just with my team, so not really with a wide audience. I've no experience in network marketing, no experience in presenting or speaking publicly, so apologies if it kind of, all goes a mess, but I'll try my best. I started FM in November 2011. I'd never worked in networking before, as I said. I worked in a call centre, and I had 2 children. And me and my husband got married and decided that we'd have one extra child. We thought it'd be a really nice number having 3. We'd all fit in a car and enough space in the house. We had it all planned out, and then we went for the scan and found out we were having twins. So we got a little bit more than what we bargained for. Obviously a huge shock. Those who have twins will understand where I'm coming from. It's a total blessing, but things do have to change. We had a car that fit us in with one extra child. We didn't have room for an extra one. So we were in a bit of a position where I felt that I couldn't go to work. Childcare would have been absolutely astronomical if I was in a normal job working 9 to 5. So I decided that I wasn't going to any work. Now I will apologise in the background. I've got my husband watching up, so if you hear clattering, I'm not going to stop him. I'm going to let him carry on. So I got an email one day off a lady who did a bit of work with Twin Club, and she had the opportunity on a Word document. It was about 5 pages long. I opened it, and I think I read the first paragraph. I thought, I'm bored of this. No, and I just kind of put it back, and it didn't catch my attention. There was far too much information, and she didn't really explain it to me. She said, oh, it's perfumes, and here's some information, read over it. So I didn't bother until about a month later. One of my friends mentioned that she'd had what she called the perfume lady come and visit her and show her the products that she had. She decided that she wanted to sign up, and I didn't want to let my friend get all the action, so I thought that I'd have a go as well. I didn't really want to be left out at all. So I started selling the products. I had really, really amazing sales in my first 2 months. I bought the big starter pack. I went into play groups. I went into Twin Club. Anywhere I went, I took my kit, and it was great to be able to show people and have all the samples there.
Yeah.
I did about 3,500 points on my own in December. I've never done 3,500 points again, so that was probably one of my big months. However, it means that it is possible to do high points. I've got people in my team that do 4,000 month after month. It is hard work. I basically spoke to everyone that I knew, I gave everyone catalogues, everyone samples, and it was a hard few months. I spent a lot of time on it, and then I realised what other people were doing in FM. I noticed that people had Mercedes, and my upline, Justine Hamilton, qualified for a Peugeot car. Another upline, Vicky Austin, was doing really, really well, and she was pregnant with twins when I went to one of the meetings. And I thought, well, if she can do it and she can get to 21%, so can I. So it really, really spurred me on to get where they were. I contacted all the people that I sold to, all my friends, and as far as I was concerned, I was letting them into this best kept secret. I was doing them a favour, and I weren't really asking them to help me. It was the other way around. I reached 21%, and it was about 70 days it took, just under, and I got to Pearl the month after. As I said, it wasn't easy. I was glued to my laptop. But to be honest, so, a mum of 4, you kind of, when it comes to night times, you do spend time at home watching TV or sat on Facebook. So the way I saw it, I was just being paid to do what I did anyway. I was socialising and chatting to people. I saw it as a bit of a hobby, really. And I think the more you see it as a hobby and the more you see it as fun, the easier it is. I had my eldest daughter when I was 15, so I was really, really young. I went to college and I dropped out of work, I dropped out of college just to work. I worked in call centres, so as far as my parents were concerned, they'd never obviously tell me, but I must have been, a bit of a letdown because, every parent wants the child to go to uni, and they gave me so many opportunities when I was growing up. And if I wanted to do a club or learn an instrument and I changed my mind a month after and want to learn something else, they'd support me anyway. So every parent wants, the child to be a doctor or a nurse or a teacher. So it was amazing to find something that suited me. I could work around my children and I could make my family proud.
Absolutely. Now you became a rock star.
Well, I qualified for the Peugeot last year, and I took a while to decide to actually pick it up. And I went and got the move. I picked up the car. And it was really nice turning up at my parents' house, and my dad saw the car, and he'd gone and spoke to his next door neighbour and told him, oh, Rachel's got a brand new car. And I felt that for once that, he was actually going off and, kind of showing off what I'd done, which is a great feeling. Everyone wants to, have the family proud of you. So to me that was so important in my journey in FM that, my parents were now seeing me as, a business lady, not just a mum with 4 children that will come up to them, once a month and ask for an extra 50 quid because she's skin. And I'm hoping in years to come it'll be them that come to me and ask me for your few grand because they're skin. But who knows? It's just something that, you'd love to do in the future, and if you have the dreams, that it could happen. I noticed a big difference with FM at first, just having extra cash. At the end of the month, having a bit of cash left instead of having to wait till payday. My husband worked as a lorry driver, and he used to get up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and he'd work till about 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes he'd get stuck out because they've got to keep certain hours when they're driving, and he'd only become a lorry driver because the army meant that he wasn't having family time. But he was probably spending less time with the family as a lorry driver and probably getting less money as well. So I made an agreement with him and said, okay, what we'll do, when your account gets to 21%, you can quit work. Now I kind of said it a bit loosely, thinking, yeah, it won't happen for a while. I'm concentrating on my own team. But when I got my account to about 18%, I started working on Gaines's as well. I wouldn't recommend anyone build 2 accounts at the same time because you can end up having really wonky legs. But once you've got some momentum in your team, you can look at, sign up your husband or, working from it in that route. So anyway, James went to 21% within 3 months. So he ended up, as you say, sacking the boss. And then he was able to spend more time at home with me and the kids. And having twins can be a real nightmare. One goes one way, one goes the other way. So I've got my husband here to be able to see them grow up, and we've still got the income that he would have probably earned from being a driver anyway. He gets to do the bedtime, and he gets to help me, do tea, and as you can hear in the background, doing the washing up. Instead of coming home from work and sitting on a chair and feeling tired and exhausted and not wanting to spend time with the family. We started being able to have more holidays. We went on a random weekend to Scarborough that I booked the week before. And it might not seem much to some people. Some people might have gone on big holidays, but to us then, to have a little bit of time as a family and just to book the weekend before for a couple of nights in a hotel and fuel to actually get to Scarborough and money to go to the arcades and things was quite important for us.
Yeah.
So I was finding having more cash really helped. I had a huge bonus in May, and that paid for us to go to the Maldives, somewhere that I'd never even dream of going there. Would never have gone if I hadn't have found FM. But me and James sat down and we said where we'd like to go on holiday. And we've just Googled, the top holiday destinations, and the Maldives was one of them. I thought, yeah, let's go. So we went to a really nice resort. We had a room on the actual water. It was just like another world. I couldn't believe, a year before we were struggling to, afford to have gas and fuel up the car.
Yeah.
I remember playing a game with my car where you kind of know when you're running low on petrol, but you know when it's low and when it's really low, and how far you can actually get on low. Which I had to retest the other week when I went to Cannock. I had Andrea, who's one of my team leaders, and Becky, who some people might know as Pretty Little Things. And she was getting so frustrated sat in the car next to me because my fuel gauge was going down, but I know how far I could get with it. So it was kind of strange to be playing that game again, but I used to do it all the time because, we knew we had to get an extra 2 days out of the petrol, and if it was low, you'd still have to, try and make the most of it. So last year I ended up going to Poland with my friends through work, and I had an email one day in probably August, only like a month before, from Anita, the MD of FM, to say that I've qualified for the gala, and they were paying for me to go to a 5-star Hilton resort in Malta, and I could take friends, so I took one of my friends, Jill, and we had an amazing week. It was near enough all-inclusive, all your drinks and food, you could have when, in the evenings. And it was a great chance to meet not only the UK orchids, but meet all the different countries and realise how big FM really is. And I remember going to the hotel room at the end of the night thinking, I could make this, really, really big if I wanted to. If I really wanted, you could work in Africa. There was a guy from, I think there was someone from Brazil. I thought, you don't have to keep in the UK. If you want to work overseas, you've got to support there. I even, at the gala dinner, I sat on a table and there was 2 UK reps, distributors, leaders, and opposite us there was an Amram from Portugal called Lewis, who I still speak to every now and then now, and the MD of the Dubai office with his partner Anna. And I still speak to Alexander now. He messaged me the other day, out of the blue, just to say that I was a star. And he was being really, really nice, and he wanted to say something nice to somebody. And it felt really good for someone that, was really successful. Alexander's been a businessman before, and I think he was a millionaire in the a restaurant industry. Now he started doing FM, and it's really, really successful over there. He's got huge premises. So for him to, take the time to speak to me, and I'm just, a normal mum as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I went to Amaranth in November last year with the help of my team leaders. I've got Rochelle, who one of my 21% legs with Jenna, Beth O'Donnell, and she's got some really, really good party planners. And then my other leg was James's leg, with the help of Louise Logue over in Northern Ireland. And also I have got huge teams, but these are my main 21% legs that helped me got there. And I think it's really important to make sure they're aware how much I value the hard work. And I wouldn't be successful if it wasn't for them too.
Exactly.
And so I think that's up to now really. My New Year's resolution was to spend a lot more time on training myself, training my team, and stepping out of my comfort zone, because I'd kind of stayed in Preston. I've not really dealt with any of the leaders. I was under the influence of someone last year who basically told me not to deal with other leaders. So I've broken free from all that, and since I've been travelling up and down the country, and Luton and London, and going up to Yorkshire tomorrow. So if anyone's around Yorkshire, feel free to message me and you can come to one of our meetings.
Fantastic.
And with the help of the new car, it means that I'm not worried about fuel running out. Fuel running out, because it's more economical, or it breaking down on the motorway. So my next year is just continuing with training myself. As I said, I'm not an expert in network marketing. I've got so much to learn, and I'm not going to learn it if I don't take the time and and go to trainings and help out other leaders.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Amazing story, Rachel. It's just incredible inspiration, for a lot of people who, say, oh, I haven't got time to build my FM business or this or that. You have been able to build a business around, for your 4 children, which is absolutely incredible, and to get the results you did. But something that stuck to my mind was you saying, that you started it as an extra cash, and so many people are saying, that there's too much month, at the end of the money, and this is, something for a lot of people that they can start off just to get some extra money, which can grow into some very, very serious business, as in your case.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Now, by the way, Andrea is saying crazy woman, so that's probably in regards to you driving on the red, but
He was in the car. He was really enjoying it. These 2 ladies, Becky and Andrea. Andrea's a personality type. If anybody's ever done the research on it or been to the trainings, if you haven't, I think Gediminas has a video on his actual website. I'm sure you'll give the link later.
Yeah.
But these 2 ladies, Andrea's slightly red, but I think she's a bit green as well. And Becky's a green, and they're so nervous and they don't like risk. But I was loving it. I was really enjoying it, and the fact that Becky was getting even more nervous just made the enjoyment more so on my side. I'll do it again tomorrow. I loved it. I'll do it again tomorrow when I take it to Yorkshire.
Lisa is saying, well done, Rachel. For someone who doesn't normally do public speaking, you have done fantastic. A great story, and I hope I can say the same in a few years. And I'm sure a lot of people have the same opinion, who want to, do what you do. It's incredible to have that sort of results. Terry is saying, you are an inspiration. Well done, Rachel. And
thank you, Terry.
Naomi is saying, Rachel is my inspiration. I wouldn't be where I am now in FM if it weren't for her.
Oh, thank you.
Rebecca is saying, evil, evil Rachel. She drove past the petrol to see the squirm.
I knew I had an extra 5 miles, and the petrol station was 2 miles in the other direction, so I just drove past one just to wind her up.
Louise is saying, Rachel, a real inspiration. Thank you. Leanne is saying, such an inspiring woman. Can't wait to follow your footsteps, Rachel. Christina saying, well done, Rachel. You're a great inspiration. And there's loads and loads and loads of people saying that you're doing really, really amazingly. Or what I would like to do is also ask you a few questions. So one of the things I know about you that you've done your business a bit differently from how a lot of people do in terms of using the internet. So a lot of leaders getting asked the same question: where do you find new people? Where do you find your customers? Where do you find your team members? So what would you say if I asked you the same thing?
I used to sponsor a lot of people, not only people that I know, but I'd use Facebook groups where I'd already built a rapport with people. So it isn't a case of joining. I know a lot of people do buy-sell pages and they get a bit of luck from them. But the way I've done it is gone to groups that I had something similar with, twin groups, because I've got twins. People might have hobbies, or they might be grandparents, or they might live in a certain area and have mums in the locality. You need to kind of, look outside the box and join a group, get socialising with people, make new friends, and from there you might get people that will just mention on the group, I'm really struggling this week, or I really want to buy this Pandora bracelet but I can't afford it. And you can inbox them and say, I've noticed that you really want this Pandora bracelet. I've got a method where you could earn that extra £100. Not everybody will want to build a huge business. Not everybody will want to you know, make huge amounts of money. You might, you know, be getting married, or you might be on a wedding site and see that someone wants to, you know, buy a dress, and so I couldn't afford that. You've got to look for these signals.
Yeah.
You might notice on your own Facebook page when you've got a friend saying, oh, I want to go out tonight, but I'm skint. You can message them and say, how would you like to be able to afford that extra night out a month? You know, that extra 50 quid that could pay for you to have a night out. I'm not sure how much your night out's going to be, how much they cost, but I know my husband can spend 100 quid in a night out, but I get frustrated and spend 50, or I'll get wound up that I've spent too much. But, you know, a little bit of money can help, you know, people go a long way. Some people might be in debt and find that 50 quid can make a huge difference to them. So never prejudge that someone wants to earn huge amounts of money. So approach them, get chatting to people. I say to my team to not necessarily work just via Facebook. You need to talk to people. I know when you did a webinar the other week, and Irina came on, and she said this to me when I've spoken to her face-to-face. The secret of FM is talking to people. And it might be a case of going out of your comfort zone, but sometimes talking to people helps. Now, my husband probably won't talk. He's going to shake his head. He's going to shake his head and say no. He's pretty shy, really. You know, he doesn't really like speaking on the phone in front of anybody because I might look at him and put him off. But he goes to the gym quite a lot, and today he was sat in the sauna. Again, he's got it pretty easy, remember, he doesn't work. And he got chatting to a guy, you know, he said hi to him, and the guy asked what James did, which makes it even more easy if they ask what you do.
Yeah.
So he said he does network marketing. He's found it really difficult recently when people said, oh, what do you do? Because men, you know, to say, oh, I sell perfumes, can, you know, he's not unemployed because, you know, he's a pearl orchid in the business, he's doing well. You know, without my husband being here, I would not have got to the level that, you know, I had done. Well, I probably would, but it would have taken a bit more longer.
Yeah.
It was great support for me. But anyway, he said that he was involved in network marketing, and he spoke in brief about the business, and James said how it had benefited us. He mentioned that he got a car, and he even name-dropped Irina and said she gets a monthly 16 grand paycheck. So, you know, don't be scared to mention the leaders. You know, it could be someone in your team or in another team, and try and find out what they're interested by. Some aren't bothered about the cars. I spoke to a lady yesterday, for one of my team members, and she said, you know, I'm not bothered about the car. I just, you know, want a bit of money. You know, I want a bit of money to pay for petrol and to take the kids out.
Yeah.
So try and find out what they want. Now, in this case, obviously, the guy likes the cash. It turns out he has his own business. He obviously still uses the products, but his wife is a beautician, and she's got a successful salon in town. So James is pretty shy. As I said, he won't come and talk to you. He's sat next to me playing on his PlayStation now, so we better have finished washing up. But, you know, it would have taken quite a lot for James to have a conversation with the guy, but he stepped out of his comfort zone and he had a chat with him. So not only has he got a new customer, he's got a potential salon to sell to, and he's also got a gym mate to work out with now because he's taken his phone number and he said he'd go and meet him and, you know, go and do some weights. FM is such a social business. It's not just work. And I think by stepping out and making it clear it's not work, it makes it, you know, so much easier. We always have samples in our bags, and I put a couple of samples in each gym bag. So he was able to offer, I think we had a 199, a 313, a 110, an 18 and an 81. And I put them in like little tie bags that you get from eBay.
Yeah.
They're called organza bags. They look really professional, it keeps them together. So James was in the position to give these to his friend along with a business card. And he wears the products as well, you know, he wears the aftershave. You know, if he goes into the gym, he'll spray it, as will I do. But it is all a case of chatting to people. You know, if you get a bus and you start at the bus stop, just look at the person next to you and say, you know, how are you doing today? Are you off to work? And step out that comfort zone and talk to them, because you never know what, you know, what they're going to be doing, or, you know, oh, where do you work? You know, do you enjoy it? How long have you done that for? have a business card with you and you can pass it on to them. As I said, the secret's talking to people, and if you don't talk to people, you won't get anything. I do recruit online, but I still talk to people.
Yeah.
I never just send information out because it's kind of the one way to fail with Facebook recruiting. You haven't got that personal touch there. You can't, chat to them beforehand like you would on an everyday basis. So you've got to try and make conversation to them. Try and make it a bit like an interview. Ask them, what they've done before and have they got kids and what kind of looking for. Are they looking for something part-time or full-time, and do they enjoy the job they do? You kind of have your own set questions that you'll ask people, but the more rapport you build with them, the easier it is to tell them the opportunity. My information, I only give a little bit of information, and I think I give it's called fminformation.com or co.uk.
Yeah.
I'll give them that website and they can have a look. But they buy into you, not just the products. And if you don't come down to their level and speak to them like a normal person, they're not going to be interested in you. Like when I had the boring message when I first started. My sponsor didn't sell it to me. She bored me and sent me a load of information. It was my friend that sold it to me. So you've got to realise that just sending information won't get you there. You've got to chat to them and be friends with them, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And somebody's just asking, what if you get a car and you don't drive? What if you qualify for a car and you get a car but you don't drive? So you can actually sell the car. The car is yours, so it's up to you what you want to do with it. If you maintain the level, the company keeps paying for it, so it's your choice. Or you can gift it to somebody.
Or if you've got 40,000 points each month in your team, you're going to have a nice wage each month.
Exactly.
You could go and learn to drive. You're going to have that extra money to be able to pay for your driving lessons. And FM is such a life-changing opportunity that you can get people that might have started and been on the bus to then affording a really nice car. I'm not sure what Irina's circumstances were before she started FM, but I know she used to travel to the office on the tube, or was it the bus, one or the other, and she used to talk to people, and she used to love the the social aspect, and she used to sign people up on the way to work. Now she goes to work to the FM office in a black Mercedes.
Yeah.
So you never know what's just around the corner.
Claire is asking, how long did it take for you to build up your team so you can have a party?
A party as in a party like, woo, I've got to...
I'm not sure. What parties are you having with your team?
I was having parties from day one. I think our first big party was when we all went to Poland and everyone got together and I don't think we were dancing on tables, but I'm sure Vicky and Jill were near enough. And we still enjoyed ourselves.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, you've already. What's the size of your team?
My team at the moment is 5,000 members.
Now
it goes up and down because I've been in FM longer than a year.
Yeah.
You do get people that have signed up that have become inactive and then obviously dropped off. So it kind of fluctuates between about 4,500 to 5,500.
Yeah.
If you imagine it like a funnel, people keep putting it in and then they're falling out the bottom.
Exactly.
Which is good and the way it should be. My top line when I first started, again, a little story, I went to a business opportunity meeting, and it was kind of my first bad thing about FM, really. I went along and I'd gone with Kirsty Walsh, and we sat down at this table, and me and Kirsty had never done networking. A lot of the people around the table had, done Clean Easy or done other networks, and they talked about the business and how you should build, and they gave some advice to not build wide, to kind of put team members under one another.
Yeah.
So me and Kirsty being us, you know, we kind of objected to it and said, well, you know, we've not done that. And the person leading the meeting said, oh, well, how many have you gone across? And Kirsty said, well, I've got about 70 and Rachel's got about 40. And the lady next to me nudged a friend and kind of laughed at her as to say, you know, what crazy people are they? And I went away from the opportunity meeting feeling a little bit upset, feeling like this lady looked down her nose at me. And it really got me to feel down. Now, most people would have, you know, taken that as a real shove and thought, I'm doing it wrong, so I'm going to, you know, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, or, you know, I'm going to stop FM. But it kind of spurred me on because now I had something that I needed to prove. I needed to prove that this method would work.
Yeah.
I'd sat under the mass. And my theory was, instead of having just 5 people and then placing one underneath another and, you know, helping people move up the business plan, it had happened to people before in that way, and you'd find that you could put somebody underneath somebody else, and that person was that strong that the person above them didn't have a chance to hit the incentives without having enough outwith.
Yeah.
I know this might be a bit more advanced to someone that's new, but those listening to the call who are team building will understand. And there's people in my upline that have more than 60% outwith, and it's kind of put them off the business because they've had someone placed under them that might be really, really good, and they were enjoying, you know, moving up the plan as they were ready, step by step. Not everyone does it in, you know, a few months. There is no race at all. And I think there's people in my upline that if they were given 2 years to kind of move up bit by bit, they'd get to 21% and they would have hit all the incentives for keeping the level for 3 months.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone's not sure about it, if you go to the incentives, it's in the incentives list from this year. So that, you know, there's a chance there to earn about a grand in incentives throughout the year.
Absolutely.
Well, it doesn't even have to be a year, it can be done over 3 years if you wish. So I decided that what I was going to do is recruit lots of people, as many as I could, in a short amount of time, and then I'd see my leaders come forward, which I did. You know, the people that wanted, you know, there were people that wanted to just do parties and would enjoy just recruiting a couple of people. Some people just wanted to do 300 points a month, which is great. You know, you need your 300 pointers, the most important people in your business. But then your team leaders will come forward, and then you can help them and support them to then, you know, build a deep business.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that I continued at this point. You know, I didn't feel, you know, put off by this lady looking down at me for being a crazy woman. Still a crazy woman, but I'm a crazy woman that got to Amaranth, and doing the method that she did, she hasn't got to the orchid level. So I'm proud. So never let anyone put you down, and never, you know, always go with, you know, your own judgment, or approach an orchid leader that's done it before, because the best advice you'll get is from an orchid that's managed to get to those levels previously.
Exactly. Also, Louise is asking, Rachel, when you recruit, do you tell them all to come to trainings and buy 300 personal points, etc.?
Yeah, I judge it. I always try to, you know, make a target for them 300 points. You've got to remember, if someone does 300 points every single month, every 3 months they're going to get a little incentive that not you are going to have to pay out. This is something that the company will buy. So you get your perfume at 3 months, you get your luxury at 6 months, you get your extravagant at 9 months, and you get your big kit at 12 months. And you know, your people that are doing 300 points are going to keep your team together. They're all going to work and keep at it because they want to carry on going up this scale of, you know, of incentives. But you have to judge each person individually and find out what they actually want from the business.
Yeah.
I've got people on my team that are really beneficial. They help out on the page. Some of them only do 100 or 200 points a month, but you know that they're enjoying it. So I don't put pressure on them to do more. If they're enjoying themselves, if they're being social and helping out on the page, and they're proud that they're getting their 100 or 200 points a month. And although it's great that, if they did 300, some do 4,000.
Yeah.
You need to look at people individually instead of, as a whole.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's Amir is asking, what would be the best way of dealing with people thinking that what we advertise is too good to be true or is a scam?
Right, okay. There are sceptical people in any business, especially the Brits were really, really sceptical. Now with FM, it's free. You've nothing to lose whatsoever. If you find that there's a business that approach you and say, to join our business, you have to pay this amount, don't do it. Because it's not fair. Why should you have to pay to even get involved? You can sign up as a preferred customer with FM. If people don't want to team build, they can just show people the catalogues. I always say to people, all you need to do is sell a bottle of classic perfume and a bottle of luxury, and it pays for your smaller starter kit. So you don't actually have to put any money into this business. It doesn't even need to run at a loss. You might say to someone, if they're local, you can give them a couple of catalogues and maybe a couple of samples and say, see how many bottles you can sell. If you know them, you might even lend them your kit. See how many bottles you can sell this month, and then we'll work it out what your commission is, and you can buy your kit out of that commission.
Yes.
So they're not running at a loss. Although we're not all in the business for financial reasons. No one wants to be running behind. Now sometimes people can be a bit sceptical due to the way that you're promoting your products. I know some people might pitch them and it might come across that the perfumes are fakes. Now one of my favourite examples, a guy called Scott Collier showed me this, probably when I first started, I always remember it. They said the designers at clothes shops, when you see a dress at Topshop, would you pick it up and say, oh, that's a fake dress? Your friend's got a really nice shirt from Marks and Spencer's. You wouldn't say, oh, where's that from? And if you said Marks and Spencer's, you wouldn't go, oh, it's a fake. Now the designers at all the high street shops, and some designers are, like real, the higher end design, do the same as what FM Perfume knows is, like the scientists who create the perfumes. They do exactly the same. They look at the trends, they look at what people like to buy, and if a mini skirt with a slit at the side and big stars on the back is really popular on the catwalks, Topshop designers will give the customers what they want and what's popular, and they'll create similar designs. Now FM do exactly the same with perfumes. They look at what people like, what's selling, what's trending in the shops, and then they'll create a perfume that, if it's a fruit, a citrusy, fresh perfume, they'll look at those groups and create a perfume in similar groups.
Yeah.
When I first started, I sold my products wrong. I was handed a list by my upline, and I found within a couple of days that people were kind of shrugging me off because they thought it was a fake. And since I reworded what I did, reworded the product, used the colour my perfume methods, never direct compare a perfume, ask what's people sometimes can be sceptical and think it's a scam because of the way you're pitching at it. And if it keeps happening over and over again, you need to look at what you're saying, and maybe it's something that you're saying that's wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's quite an amazing way that you just described it, comparing to the designers, and that's quite good. We need to use it more. Well, Rachel, I've already kept you too long today. It is a pleasure. There's lots of people saying thank you, fantastic, inspirational, etc. So it's really amazing to have you here. I hope this is not last time that you come on the call. Again, I just wanted to personally thank you so much for coming on this call, and I'm sure many people, are very inspired by this call today.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone that's come listen, and thank you to all the help I get. I won't get here. I've never got to the level I have without the help of my team leaders and my upline support. I've got Vicky Austin and Becky, Pretty Little Things, and Justina and David and Stephen, Ian, all the orchids. They're all there to help you, and no one gets successful by keeping themselves to themselves and locked in a little bubble.
Exactly.
So thank you very much to everybody.
Cheers, Rachel.
Thank you.